Ever swiped a card, tapped your phone to pay, or effortlessly bought something online? Chances are you've encountered the silent giants of global finance, Visa and Mastercard. We see their logos everywhere, but have you ever stopped to think about their real impact on the world? And how do these companies, that don't actually lend you money, become so incredibly profitable and influential? That's what we're unpacking today on Majestic Mind. First, let's clear up a common misconception. Visa and Mastercard aren't banks. They don't directly issue you credit cards or decide your interest rates. Think of them instead as massive global networks. They are the infrastructure that allows transactions between banks, merchants, and you, the consumer. They provide the rails, the rules, and the technology that makes electronic payments possible worldwide. Imagine them like a super efficient highway system connecting every shop to every bank account globally. This network is their product. Now for the crucial question. How do they make money? It's not directly from you, the cardholder usually. Their profit engine is fueled by fees charged to merchants every time a card is used. This is where it gets interesting and a bit complex. The main source is something called interchange fees. This is a small percentage of each transaction that the merchant's bank, the acquirer, pays to your bank, the issuer, through the Visa or Mastercard network. Visa and Mastercard set the general rates for these interchange fees, although they can vary slightly based on card type, merchant industry, and region. Think of it as a tiny toll fee on every transaction highway. For example, if you buy a $100 item with your card, a small percentage, maybe around 3% on average, goes towards these fees. That might seem small on a single transaction, but multiply that by billions of transactions every single day across the globe, and you start to see the immense scale. But it doesn't stop there. Visa and Mastercard also collect network fees directly from the banks. These are for using their network infrastructure, branding, and security systems. Plus, there are fees for things like authorization requests, clearing and settlement processes, and various other services they provide within the payment ecosystem. The beauty, from their perspective, is that these fees are largely invisible to the average consumer at the point of sale. You don't see a separate Visa fee on your receipt. It's baked into the cost of doing business for merchants. And because electronic payments are so essential in today's world, merchants largely have to accept these fees as a cost of reaching customers. Okay, so they make a lot of money. But what's the impact of Visa and Mastercard on the world? Let's start with the positives. They've undeniably revolutionized commerce and how we interact with money. Convenience and efficiency. Think about it, no more fumbling with cash, counting change, or worrying about carrying large sums of money. Cards are lighter, easier to manage, and accepted pretty much everywhere that takes payment. This has streamlined transactions for both consumers and businesses, fueling global trade and e-commerce. Imagine trying to do online shopping or international travel without a widely accepted payment system. Visa and Mastercard have been instrumental in enabling the explosion of e-commerce and global trade by providing a secure and reliable way to pay across borders and online, security and fraud protection. While not foolproof, they invest heavily in security technologies to combat fraud. They offer systems to detect suspicious transactions and often offer protection to consumers if their cards are used fraudulently, like zero-liability policies. This offers a level of security that carrying cash simply doesn't. Financial inclusion, to a degree. For some populations, especially in developing economies, debit cards linked to bank accounts can be a first step towards formal financial inclusion, giving them access to payment systems they might not have had otherwise. But with great power comes, well, there are definitely downsides and concerns around the dominance of Visa and Mastercard. Data privacy concerns. Every time you use your card, data is collected. Where you shop, what you buy when you buy it. Visa and Mastercard process vast amounts of personal data. While they claim to anonymize and protect this data, the sheer volume and potential for misuse are legitimate privacy concerns. Who has access to this data? How is it being used? These are important questions. Merchant fees burden small businesses. Those interchange and network fees, while seemingly small percentages, can really add up for businesses, especially small businesses with tight margins. These fees can eat into profits and sometimes get passed on to consumers in the form of slightly higher prices. Some argue this disproportionately impacts smaller players and favors larger corporations who can negotiate better rates. Exclusion of the unbanked. While they can aid financial inclusion in some ways, the system inherently excludes those without bank accounts. Millions globally, often the most vulnerable, don't have bank accounts or credit cards. A payment system heavily reliant on electronic payments can leave these populations behind, creating a two-tiered financial system, potential for control and surveillance. Because they sit at the center of so many transactions, Visa and Mastercard, along with governments and banks, have a significant amount of power to monitor and potentially control financial activity. While this can be used for legitimate purposes like fighting crime and terrorism, it also raises concerns about potential overreach, censorship, and surveillance. Imagine a world where access to payment systems could be easily restricted based on, well, anything. That's a powerful position to be in. Now, the big question, do Visa and Mastercard control the world? That's probably hyperbole. They don't have political power in the traditional sense. But they do wield immense influence. They are critical infrastructure for the modern global economy. Their systems underpin trillions of dollars in transactions. Their decisions and policies shape the financial landscape. It's more accurate to say they influence the flow of money and commerce around the globe. They have a powerful position, but they aren't all powerful. Governments regulate them, banks are their partners, and sometimes competitors, and alternative payment systems are emerging. Think about the rise of mobile payment apps, cryptocurrencies, and localized payment solutions. These are, in part, responses to the dominance and perceived limitations of traditional card networks. The payment landscape is evolving, and while Visa and Mastercard are currently kings, the game is always changing. Visa and Mastercard are undeniably powerful tools. They've brought incredible convenience, efficiency, and globalization to our financial lives. But their dominance also comes with complex consequences, questions around data privacy, fees, exclusion, and potential centralized control. Understanding how they operate and their impact is crucial for navigating the modern financial world. That's your deep dive into Visa and Mastercard for today on Majestic Mind. I hope you found this enlightening. If you did, please hit that like button and subscribe to Majestic Mind for more explorations of the world around us, from technology to economics to, well, whatever sparks our curiosity next. Let me know in the comments. What are your thoughts on Visa and Mastercard? Are they a force for good, a necessary evil, or something in between? Thanks for watching and keep thinking.